two people are standing in front of you.
One of them makes $40,000 a year.
The other one makes $140,000. And I want you to guess which one is broke. Because if you picked the person making 40 grand, you just failed the most important money test there is.
The truth is, the one pulling in $140,000 a year is the one who is truly structurally broke, not the other way around.
I know how that sounds. It sounds like a trick. But by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why a bigger paycheck can leave you more exposed than a smaller one. And more importantly, you're going to know the exact line you have to cross to make being broke not just unlikely for you, but mathematically impossible. And here's the part that surprises people the most. Crossing that line has almost nothing to do with luck and almost nothing to do with earning more. It comes down to automating one single move every week. Do that, and in about 2 years, you reach a point where being broke simply can't happen to you anymore. So let's start by throwing out the definition you've been using your whole life. Most people think broke is a number,
An empty checking account, a small paycheck.
a balance that says you can't afford the thing in the cart. But that definition is wrong, and it's wrong in a way that keeps millions of people trapped. Because broke isn't a number. Broke is a distance.
It's the amount of room between you and your next financial emergency. That's it.
That's the whole thing. And once you see money that way, everything reorganizes itself.
Go back to our two people. The one making $140,000 looks wealthy. Nice house, with a mortgage stretched right to the edge of what the bank would approve. 2 cars in the driveway, both financed. A lifestyle that quietly eats every single dollar before it even lands. On paper, they're doing great. But every dollar of that big paycheck is already spoken for. So when the furnace dies in January, or a medical bill shows up that insurance didn't fully cover, there is zero room to absorb it. No cushion. Nothing.
The emergency doesn't stay an emergency. It instantly becomes high-interest debt. That's the distance being zero. Now the person making $40,000. Smaller income, smaller life. But sitting quietly between their expenses and their income is a buffer. Real money, already set aside. So when the exact same furnace dies, the money is just there. It's a bad week. Not a bad year. Same event, completely different outcome. And the only variable that changed was the distance.
Sit with that for a second, because it flips the whole game. If being broke is a distance and not an income problem, then it's not something that just happens to you.
It's something you can measure, something you can engineer, and something you can close permanently. So how do you close it? You aim at 2 very specific lines, not vague goals, actual calculable thresholds. The first line is $1,000. That's it. And I know $1,000 doesn't sound like freedom. But here's the surprising part. This is the most important line you'll ever cross, and it's not even close. Because most people don't get racked by some giant dramatic catastrophe. They get wrecked by an ordinary $1,000 shock. The transmission. The emergency vet visit. The appliance that picks the worst possible moment to quit. That's the exact size of the event that pushes a normal person onto a credit card. And once that balance starts rolling at 20+% interest, the spiral begins. So crossing that first $1,000 line does something huge. It slams shut the single most common door into consumer debt. $1,000 closes the door that ruins most people. The second line is bigger, and it's the real destination. 4 months of your true essentials saved in cash. Now, why 4?
You've probably heard 3 to 6 months your whole life, and 4 sits right in the middle of that on purpose. It's large enough to survive 2 disasters landing at once, say a major surprise expense and a short gap between jobs, but it's small enough that you're not hoarding years of idle cash that should be out there working and growing for you.
4 months is the sweet spot between fragile and wasteful. But here's where almost everyone quietly sabotages themselves, and I need you to be honest with yourself on this one. The word essentials. Your true essentials are only the costs that don't stop when your income stops. Housing. Utilities. Basic groceries, not the good restaurant, the actual groceries. Insurance. Transportation to get to work. And your minimum debt payments. That's the list. It does not include your streaming stack. It does not include eating out. It does not include the gym membership you haven't used since February. Because here's the trap. If you price your 4-month line using your comfortable lifestyle instead of your survival number, you build a finish line so far away you'll never reach it, and then you'll quit and blame yourself. Price the real number.
It's smaller than you think, and that's the point.
Now, let me answer the question you might already be asking. If I just made more money, wouldn't all of this fix itself?
And this is the part I really want you to hear, because it's the trap that trips up high earners over and over. Your safety line is built out of your essentials.
So watch what happens when you get a raise. Say you get an extra $2,000 a month. It feels amazing, and almost without thinking, you let your lifestyle expand to meet it.
A nicer apartment, a newer car payment. Nothing crazy. Let's say $1,200 of that new money quietly gets absorbed into a bigger baseline. Feels harmless. But your monthly essentials just went up by $1,200. And remember, your safety target is 4 months of essentials. So your finish line just moved $4,800 further away on the very same day you got the raise. Read that again. You gave yourself a raise, and your goal ran away from you. You're sprinting toward a finish line that your own spending keeps pushing back.
That's why the $140,000 earner stays broke. Their income didn't buy them safety. It bought them a more expensive life that made real safety even harder to reach. So the paycheck is not the lever.
Here's the lever. One automatic transfer every week of 10% of your take-home pay, moving on the day you get paid. That's the entire engine. And I want to be specific about why it's weekly and not daily, because the design matters more than the number.
Daily saving sounds disciplined, but it fails. And it fails for a reason behavioral science explains: decision fatigue. Every day that you have to make an active choice to save, that choice costs you something. And it's exactly why I'll just budget carefully every day collapses within a month. A weekly automatic transfer sidesteps all of it. It's frequent enough to build real momentum, but it runs on autopilot. You have to be disciplined exactly once, the day you set it up, and then the system does the discipline for you forever. Where does that money go? A high-yield savings account, earning somewhere around 4 to 5% right now. Not the stock market. This money has one job, and it is not to grow aggressively. It's to be a shield. Instant access, zero volatility. No risk. If your emergency fund can drop 30% in a bad week, it's not an emergency fund, it's a bet. Keep it boring on purpose. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have 10% lying around, then the 10% has to come from somewhere, and it's almost always the same two places. Housing and transportation. Those are the two biggest line items in nearly every budget, and they're the only levers big enough to actually free up the cash.
A smaller place, a cheaper car.
It's not glamorous, but you hold your lifestyle completely still while the buffer catches up. That's the deal. Now here's my favorite part, because this is where it stops being motivation and becomes math. There's a formula that tells you almost exactly how long your escape will take, and it depends on one ratio: your essentials divided by your income. Timeline in months equals 40 times your essentials divided by your income. Watch what this does. Our modest earner, whose true essentials eat up 50% of their income. 40 times 0.5, 20 months. That's it, 20 months to a 4-month buffer. Now the stuck high earner, whose inflated lifestyle eats 78% of that big paycheck? 40 times 0.78, over 31 months. Look at what just happened. The size of the paycheck completely canceled out of the equation. It's not in the formula at all. Your expense ratio, not your income, decides how fast you get free.
Let's put real numbers on it. Say your take-home is $6,000 a month, and you're moving that 10%, about $138 a week. In about 7 to 8 weeks, you cross that first $1,000 line, and you're already shielded from the everyday shocks that sink most people. And in a little under 2 years, actually a touch faster, because that 4 to 5% interest is quietly helping, you cross the 4-month line. And then something remarkable happens. Being broke becomes impossible. Not unlikely, impossible. Because now your finances are a self-healing system. Here's what I mean. A $3,000 emergency hits. You drop below your safety line, and you pay for it in cash, instantly, no drama. And because that 10% weekly transfer is still running quietly in the background, the system just refills itself over the next few months. It heals. And in healing, it protects you from the two disasters that quietly destroy middle-class wealth. The first is the forced sell-off. Picture a 30% market crash, and an emergency hits at the same moment. With no cash, you're forced to sell your investments at the absolute bottom to cover it. That $3,000 emergency could quietly cost you an extra $1,300 in lost recovery gains you'll never get back. The cash buffer means you never touch your investments. You let them recover while everyone else panic sells. The second is the debt spiral. Put that same $3,000 on a 24% credit card, and you'll pay hundreds of dollars in pure interest for the privilege. The buffer skips all of it. But all of this, every bit of it, depends on one rule. The buffer is sacred. The day you dip into it for a real emergency, refilling it becomes your number one financial priority, ahead of every want, every upgrade, every I earned it. You protect the shield, and the shield protects you.
So let's come back to those two people. It was never about the 40,000 or the 140,000. It was about the distance. And now you know exactly how to close yours. Cross $1,000, then build 4 months of true essentials, funded by 10% moving automatically every single week. Set it up once, protect it fiercely, and let the math do the rest. If this changed how you think about being broke, do me a favor, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Give this video a like so it reaches someone who needs it, and drop a comment telling me, what's your essentials to income ratio right now?
Run the number. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.